Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something really cool, the spot where old school beekeeping meets brand new tech. We're going to break down exactly how you can transform queen breeding from, an art form into a rock-solid science, turning every single queen you raise into a traceable, high-value digital asset.
So, if you really want to take your breeding program to the next level, you've got to start thinking beyond just the bee itself. It's really about seeing the bigger picture, the patterns, the performance, and all that potential that's locked up in her genetics. We're not just looking at a queen bee anymore, we're looking at the data she represents throughout her entire life.
All right, so here's the big question, right? How do you actually take a tiny, fragile little queen cell and give it a permanent digital life? How do you capture its value from the very first day and then track it for years? Well, let's get into it.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with one huge decision: picking your mother queen. For, generations, this has been all about your memory and a gut feeling. But today, we're making a shift. We're moving away from just instinct and into the world of hard evidence.
Think about it. On one side, you have the old school way, right? You're relying on your memory, maybe some notes you scribbled on a hive lid, and that beekeeper's intuition. And look, that has its place, but it's fragile, it's hard to repeat. But on the other side, you've got selection by data. Imagine choosing your next breeder based on a clear, lifetime score, a proven family tree, and actual success rates. Suddenly, the choice isn't a guess anymore. It's clear, it's confident, and you can do it again and again.
Now, this might just look like a number, but trust me, this is incredibly powerful. All the complicated stuff from a queen's life, her health, her brood pattern, her temperament, all of it gets distilled down into this one simple performance score. And it's not some random number. It's calculated from every single inspection and observation you log.
Okay, so what are we actually looking for here? You obviously want a queen with a consistently high lifetime score, but you also need proof that she's a good mother. And that means looking at her breeding success rates, like how many of her cells actually get accepted and turn into laying queens. And finally, does she have a track record of producing awesome daughters? The data tells you all of this.
All right, you picked your champion. Now the clock starts on that delicate 35-day journey of queen rearing. This is a schedule where there is literally zero room for error, which is exactly why having an automated guide is probably your most valuable tool.
Check this out. The moment you log your graft on day 0, the system just maps it all out for you. It automatically calculates every single critical milestone. Day 2 for your cell check, day 10 to distribute the cells, day 12 when they should emerge, and all the way up to verifying that she's laying. No more messing with calendars or worrying about missing a key date. The timeline keeps you on track.
Okay, now here's a detail that all the pros out there are going to appreciate. The app totally gets that the best practice is to move the capped cells into mating nukes around day 10. You're not trying to move fragile little virgin queens, and the app's workflow is built for this. It lets you batch create a bunch of queenless mating nukes that are all ready to go so the virgins emerge right at home, giving you the best shot at acceptance.
And think about this, when you're juggling multiple grafting projects all at once, you need to see what's going on at a glance. Instead of trying to tap through menus with sticky gloves, you can just say, "Show me my queen rearing batches," and boom, you get an instant status report on everything.
So this brings us to the really exciting part. The cell mated, the virgin queen has mated, and you've finally seen her first eggs. This is that key moment of transformation. It's where a physical queen becomes a permanent digital asset.
The promote to queen workflow is just so slick. With one little tap, the system creates a permanent record for the new queen and a new hive record for her colony. And most importantly, it stamps her digital birth certificate, forever linking her to her mother in the ancestry tracker.
But creating the queen, that's really just step 1. The real magic, the real payoff, comes from tracking her performance over her entire life. This is how you actually quantify the true value of your genetic lines season after season.
So, remember that 4.9 out of 5 score we saw a minute ago? Well, where does that actually come from? It's not just some random number. It's a balanced score calculated from your real-world inspection data. It weighs things like how easy she is to find against the quality of her brood, the colony's health, how they handle mites, and of course, her own success as a breeder.
So who cares, right? Why does this even matter? Well, it's because this data gives you stuff you can actually use. You can put daughter queens side by side and directly compare them. You can finally identify your absolute best genetic lines and, just as important, your worst ones.
You can make requeening decisions with total confidence and over time, build this incredible multi-generational pedigree that's all backed by years of hard data.
Just look at this. It's a perfect real-world example. You've got two sisters, C3 and C7, from the exact same batch. The data just makes it obvious, instantly, that C3 is the better queen. She's outperforming her sister in every key area. This is the kind of clarity that takes a breeding program from just guesswork to a really targeted genetic strategy.
Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. This all sounds great, but I've got sticky gloves on, my hands are full of propolis. How am I going to type all this stuff in? And that, my friends, is the final piece of the puzzle, making this whole thing fast, efficient, and totally hands-free.
Imagine just saying this one sentence while you're working. Start inspection for 26-015. Queen seen, laying well. Solid brood pattern on 6 frames, might count 1. And just like that, you've logged a whole new inspection and updated the queen's scores for visibility, brood quality, and mite management, all without ever taking off your gloves.
But what about the other big challenge in the bee yard? Speed, right? When you've got rows and rows of identical mating nukes, how do you find the right record for the right queen instantly?
And that's where NFC tags are a total game changer. The system's built for the whole life cycle. You can tag individual cells while you're rearing them. After she's promoted, you create a tag just for the queen. And finally, you give her hive its own permanent tag. A quick tap of your phone on the tag and the correct record just pops right up. No more searching.
So when you step back and look at the whole thing, you have a system that takes you from one tiny, single-grafted cell all the way to a full-blown, multi-generational dynasty. Your entire breeding operation is digitized, it's searchable, and it's right there in your pocket.
So really, it all boils down to one simple question you have to ask yourself. Without data, a new queen is just an expense. She's a consumable that you just hope is going to work out. But when you track her performance, when you can prove her genetic value, she stops being an expense. She becomes a long-term, high-value investment that pays you back for seasons and seasons to come.